Hello, everyone, and welcome to another match preview on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie, and I'm your host for this evening. Firstly, Ramadan Mubarak to all my brothers and sisters out there. I hope the fasting is going well and you are having a blessed month so far. So, yeah, pick up to everyone that's taking part in Ramadan. But in terms of this upcoming fixture, we've had a few days off, so back to normal scheduling. Liverpool finished at the top of the Champions League table in the first phase, and you think we would get a favourable draw in the round of 16. So that's not quite how it panned out, as we're facing one of the most informed teams in Europe, which is Paris Saint-Germain. So a huge encounter against two giants. So let's preview this upcoming tie that takes place in the Parc des Princes. Now, in terms of the team, our opposition, PSG have been in devastating form in recent weeks, probably in the whole season, if I'm being brutally honest. In the last five games, they've won all of their matches. Two matches involved 7-0 results. The first was against Brest in the Champions League encounter, which ended up being a 10-0 result on aggregate. And they also had a second 7-0 victory against Stade Briochin in the French Cup quarterfinal. So, yeah, a team that's definitely on form right now in the league. They're currently undefeated with 19 wins, 5 draws, and 0 losses. 66 goals scored with 23 goals conceded. The last time they lost a game was actually against Bayern Munich in the Champions League, and that happened on the 26th of November. So it's been a few months since they've suffered a defeat. Um, but this is a different opposition that we're facing. It's not the typical I was going to say FSG, PSG of previous years where they rely on one or two marquee signings with the likes of Mbappe and your Neymars. This is a young team that play as a collective, like a proper team. There's no big stars here. There's no big egos in the squads. They're all quite sort of united in the way they're playing, and they've also made some great young signings in the last summer. They signed João Neves from Benfica, Ozwrld, who is a special talent. If you haven't, watched him in action, you'll see him tomorrow against Liverpool. William Pacho, a player that Liverpool were linked with last summer, Ecuadorian centre back. Uh, from Frankfurt, I believe he was the left-footed player. So yeah, a player that I'm sure a lot of us um compilations or were aware of his existence. They also signed a goalkeeper in Safanov, and they also signed a player that we were linked to again, but this was in the January window, and that was Kvaratskhelia, who they signed from Napoli. So some very interesting signings there. But for me, they will pose a different threat, but one that I'm relishing, as I believe we have the players that can go toe to toe with them, and hopefully we can be victorious in this two-legged affair. So let's go through the team news and see who's available for this fixture. Now, PSG are very blessed because they have a fully fit squad. They have no injuries whatsoever. Now, in terms of Liverpool, Gakpo unfortunately wasn't able to train, so he's not expected to be involved in this fixture. Conor Bradley, Joe Gomez, and Tyler Morton are out for the foreseeable future. So what we'll do now is we'll present a graphic to showcase the lineups, and we'll see how both teams will set up. I'll try and give a tactical breakdown of how I think I keep saying FSG, PSG will attack us in this game tomorrow. So let's bring up the graphic. So we'll start with the home team, of course. Now, in terms of the goalkeeper, it's Donnarumma. No sort of huge surprise in terms of his addition there. Of course, moved there from AC Milan, and yeah, he's definitely hit the heights there. I think he's definitely lived up to the bill. A player that's always had huge potential due to his size, and of course breaking into the first team at the age of 16, I believe it was. So he's definitely been a player that people really wanted him to excel. Of course, he was touted as the next Buffon, which is, very huge praise at the time. But I think he's living up to the bill as a very, very good goalkeeper. So that's the keeper we'll be facing tomorrow. Now, in terms of the back four, I'm going to go for Nuno Mendes on the left side, the left back. Very good player, to be fair. Could be a player that Liverpool could possibly target. That's me just being a bit hopeful there. Do like the look of him. Very aggressive, especially from an attacking point of view. Defensively, can be you know taken out of the team in terms of having an attacker go one on one with him. But generally speaking, defensively good and attacking wise, yeah, he can definitely help out in terms of creating something out of nothing. Got good crossing ability and has a decent shot on him as well. So definitely one to look out for. On the right side, I expect it to be Hakimi. Not to trying to add any sort of negative energy out there, but if Trent was to leave, this is the type of player that I'd want us to look at. Hakimi for me is experienced to come to a league like the Premier League. Uh, Actually can play right back. He's not just a wing back sort of player. Can play traditional right back. Can also play left back, which he did when he was on loan at Dortmund. So a player that's versatile. I feel like he's around 25 years of age, I believe. So he's at a good age. So maybe someone that we could, consider as a target in the summer if Trent was to leave. Of course, we will discuss that, in due course. In terms of the centre back pairing, I'm going to go for Pacho. I think he'll start in this fixture. So tall, aggressive centre back. I remember when we had the rounds of him being linked to a move to Liverpool. His sort of stats for aerial duels wasn't very high, so maybe that's something we can capitalize. Where if you've got someone like Darwin Núñez up against him, maybe we can try and exploit. But we'll speak about Liverpool tactics very very shortly. Alongside him will be Marquinhos, the Brazilian centre back, but also captain of PSG. Now, in terms of the midfield, player that I actually wanted a couple of years ago, but no one really thought highly of, was Vitinha. I think he's a really, really good player, great technician, a good sort of eye for the pass, has a great range of passing, and he's definitely, flourished under Luis Enrique. I think the previous manager he wasn't getting much game time, but under this manager, he's definitely living up to the bill. Alongside him, I don't think they'll go for Desiree only on the basis that I feel like they might want to have a more compact midfield three, and then if they need a goal, then they can probably bring on Desiree Doué later in the game. So I'm going to go for João Neves to play on that side of the pitch, and then on the left side, I think it'll be Fabian Ruiz, who I'm sure we all remember had a very good Euros for Spain last summer. So strong midfield three there. Now in terms of up top, I was sort of debating to myself who was starting this one. Kvaratskhelia, traditionally known as a left winger, but since he's joined PSG, he has played on the right hand side. He's even played through the middle on a couple of occasions. For me, I think you have to put Dembele as the first name on the team sheet. He's been in sensational form. Another player that probably hasn't lived up to the, I won't say hype, because I feel like he was always a talented player from his days in Liga. But unfortunately, injuries have definitely hampered his progression and game time over the years. Of course, the move to Barcelona, was made into a huge deal. Of course, that money was from the Coutinho deal. But no, for me, I think he's definitely living up to what we expected from Osman Dembele. I feel like he's a player that excites you when you watch him on the pitch. 2 foot as well. I remember watching an interview when he was a youngster. He didn't even know what foot he was. So uh, shows you how talented, he's a natural talent. It's good to see him. He's been having a season where he's not been on the receiving end of injuries or anything like that. So that's always been his issue. I don't think talent has always been in question. It's more so his sort of injury records and his availability. I think that's always been a concern for him because he hasn't played enough games over the years. But he's definitely one we need to make sure we don't give him any space because he will definitely punish us. Some may go for Kvaratskhelia on the left-hand side. I've been very, very impressed with Barcola. Player that I really like the look of. We were linked to him actually a couple of years ago when he played for Lyon. That was his former club, and he's literally just been a breath of fresh air. With Mbappe leaving, it was always going to be a huge sort of role to fill. And for me, he stepped up to the plate. He's filled those boots, and for me, he just looks like such a special talent. Can play on the left, can play on the right. But what he's added to his game this year is goals, and he's scoring a flurry of them right now. So very special talent there, and very smart signing from PSG. PSG probably would have gone for a bigger name, but they've decided to go for a young, up and coming French winger in their own league. And look, they're getting their rewards because he looks like a top talent. So these two on the wings, yeah, they're going to cause issues. Let's not be around the bush. Through the middle, it was between Kvaratskhelia and Ramos. I'm going to go for Ramos. I think they might go for a more traditional striker. He scored a couple of goals over the weekend as well. So I think that would be their thinking to go for the informed striker, and Kvaratskhelia can come on and play in any of those front row positions. So that is my predicted lineup for PSG. I do expect to see the likes of Desiree Doué come on. You've got Zay Emery as well, a player that we've been linked with in the last couple of weeks. Uh, I've always been a fan of his. I feel like he's a very great technician on the ball, so he could come on and have an impact in the midfield. And you've got Kvaratskhelia as well. So definitely got some players that can come off the bench and have an impact on the team. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in terms of this lineup. Is this what you expected, or do you think they might have a few more changes to their system? Because they do have lots of talent. So they've also got, if they need more defensive assurance, they've got Kimpembe back. They've got Lucas Hernandez. They've got Lee Kang In, who is an attacker as well. So another option off the bench. But the one you're looking at is probably Zay Emery and Kvaratskhelia. Those are the two that you expect to come on at some point and have an impact on the game. So that is my PSG predicted lineup. Uh, Now let's move on to the Liverpool lineup. So let's start with the goalkeeper. No surprise there. Alisson starts in goal. Trent, of course, starts on the right back. Of course, no real competition on that side. So I'm going to go for Trent. But I'm concerned, if I'm being brutally honest with you, because he had a torrid time against Doku. Barcola's not too far off in terms of one-on-one duels. I feel like they're probably quite similar. The only difference is Barcola actually has better end product and hits the back of the net on a more of a um, regular theme this season. So it's going to be a difficult one. I think, the centre back alongside him, he's going to have to make sure he covers the ground, and that is Konate. Uh, but if I'm being honest, I am concerned. And if it's one of those things where Trent isn't able to cope for his defensive duties, then you have to bring on Kwanzaa and play him at right back. Not the most, agile players on that side, but he gives you that defensive assurance that you need in that position. So that would be my thinking. But Trent will start on the basis that we need an attacking outlet from that right hand side. Alongside Konate would be Van Dijk, of course. Big debate who starts, Robertson or Simica. I thought Simica had a good game last week. But I think Robertson will be reinstated. They've all had a few days of rest, so they should be all fresh and raring to go. Bamberg starts in the midfield alongside Callister. And the number 10 role, who's going to be pivotal in the way we play, is Dominic Szoboszlai. Now, I mentioned the midfield three of Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz, and yeah, João Gomez. Apart from Fabian Ruiz, who is probably a bit more of the physical uh, centre midfielder out of the three, but Vitinha Neves, they might have an engine on it, but I don't feel like they will um, be able to cope with Szoboszlai's pace and power. So I feel like Szoboszlai needs to be in full flow to really have an impact in this game. It'll be very interesting to see how he plays on the right hand side. Of course, Mohamed Salah. Never really questioned down into if he starts or not. Left side, Gakpo probably would have been the player that I would have played, but I think Diaz deserves to play on the left wing. He's been fantastic in the last couple of games, so deserves to start on that side. Flip over coin, who starts between Jota and Nunes? For me, it has to be Jota. I think we need to have a lethal finish in front of goal, but Nunes will definitely have a role to play. As I mentioned earlier on, William Patrick doesn't have I don't know about this season, but I know when he played for Frankfurt last season, he didn't have the highest ratio in terms of aerial duels. So maybe that's an area that we can exploit. So having a striker like a Nunes who's definitely physical and likes to play alongside or should I say onto the centre backs, it could be something that we can exploit in terms of the latter stage of the game. So that would be my thinking. But Harvey I think definitely could come on and have an impact if we need some creativity in that number 10 role. You got like Chiesa who would come on and have an impression on the game, and Curtis Jones, whose passing range would definitely be pivotal in terms of how we play. And if we need, more deliveries from that left hand side, Simicast is an option to replace Robertson as well. So that is my predicted lineup for this fixture. Feel free to drop a comment and let me know what you guys think. Now, in terms of my score prediction, of course, it's always easy to say Liverpool win, but I'm actually going for a draw. I don't think this will be a game that'll be full of goals. I think it will be a game where both coaches will be trying to outsmart each other in terms of tactics. I don't think it'll be a free flowing game. I think we'll see some good football, but I don't think it'll be where defensive mistakes are going to be on show. I think it's going to be moments of brilliance that can break the deadlock, and I think that's what's going to occur in this fixture. So I'm going for a 1-1 draw. Now, in terms of the goal scorers, I'm going for Dembele and Mohamed Salah to be the two goal scorers there. So yeah, so that's my prediction. Feel free to drop a comment and let me know what you think will be a score prediction for this game. Um, just gonna go through some comments here. Uh, Big up to Dan. Big up Ozzie. Do you know when they will announce the officials for Wembley? Not at the moment, to be fair. I was trying to check it myself to try and get tickets, but no. And also in terms of the referees and stuff, I have no idea. It's not been announced, but imagine if it's my follower. That really annoyed me. But no, no. To be fair, it's one of those things. It doesn't really matter who it is. Don't trust any of these referees, but that's just my viewpoint. Same as Newcastle for me. Endo's English is good. Yeah, I watched the press conference earlier on today. Yeah, very good. Got slight you can have a touch of Scouse in the way he talks, which is quite nice. So yeah, he does speak very good English, to be fair. Um, Now, before we close the show, there's a few things that have been sort of rumbling um, when it comes to, I'd say, transfer speculation. Feels like it's a bit too early to discuss, but why not? We can discuss it right now. So the first one is, of course, regarding Isak. So apparently the rumor is that Liverpool have contacted Isak's reps or his sort of agency or whoever manages him day to day regarding a move. And apparently Newcastle are after a £150 million move. Now, my thoughts on the speculation, I definitely do feel like there is some sort of dialogue between Liverpool and his representatives. The 150 mark, I'm just gonna lie, it's a crazy fee. My only concern with that fee is that I don't see us paying that kind of price bracket, but it's also a tactical plot from Newcastle to try and gain as much as they can because we're not the only interested club in terms of the league. And of course, Arsenal is showing interest in the striker, but he's got interest from outside as well. He's got interest from PSG, ironically, our opponents tomorrow, and they've also got interest in Real Madrid. So apparently, there's been rumors that Vinicius Junior is open to a move to Saudi, which opens the gate for Real Madrid to sign another attacker. And, you know, with Mbappe playing a number nine role, it's not he can play that role, but I feel like he flourishes more playing that left hand side. So it could be where they view Mbappe to play on the left wing and then have a central striker like Isak coming to the team. So that's just the kind of speculation right now. But it will be very interesting to see what happens with Isak. For me, has to be our number one target. The fee is astronomical. I don't know if we'd pay that much. Some may argue and say, well, look, we bidded 110 million for Caicedo. It didn't go through, but we made the bid. So who knows? It's one of those things where I'll be pleasantly surprised if we did end up making that kind of bid. But if you look at the market, there aren't really any lethal finishes out there in world football. Obviously, you've got the likes of Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon. You've got Osimhen as well. I don't know. Like Gyökeres, I still have some question marks over his adaptability to the Premier League. Osimhen, I don't know if he'll flourish in this system. Definitely a good goal scorer, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if he'll suit the way we play. But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see who Liverpool target because let's be honest, uh, there's no definite answer to the what type of striker Arsenal wants to get in the summer. Does he want to continue that tradition of having a false nine at the club or within the system that he's deploying? Or does he want to go all out and get a traditional gunman, a traditional number nine to be the focal point of our team and get the goals? Because right now it's quite unclear in terms of um, what that is. But also with the speculation, you do have to look at the bigger picture. If you were to try and spend big on Isak, probably not 150 million. I'd probably say I think around a bid of 120 would get that over the line because obviously that would be a record transfer fee in the Premier League. I think that's what Newcastle would like to happen in order for them to part ways with their star striker there. But if Isak was to join on a big money move, does that mean Salah's going? Because you can't completely rule that until we don't get an announcement that Salah is staying. Unfortunately, that thought has to be discussed out loud because it could be possible. It could be where they're thinking, do you know what, we're going to let Salah go, but we're going to have a different way of playing now. We're going to have a traditional number nine, and we're going to have a out and out right winger to play on that side rather than an inside forward that Salah has been over the years. So, as positive as it is that I'm hearing links to Isak, there's a part of me like, but what does that mean about Mo Salah? So I don't know. It's very early to you know think too emotionally about this sort of thing, but it does need to be addressed. So it's positive that we're linked to the player. Whether it'll come, uh, as a reality, it remains to be seen. But we've still got a few months away, so we'll wait and see what happens. Now, sticking to Real Madrid as they were linked to Isak as well. Apparently, they want to sign Konate, so that's been the latest rumor right now, and it's probably based on some uncertainty with regards to his contract. There has been a contract placed on the table for Konate. He just hasn't signed it yet. So my thinking is that I think he's waiting for the likes of the Van Dijks and the Salahs and the Trents to see what the outcome is with those three. If they all depart, then I feel like he might think, this is not the club for me because they lost three of their best players. Like, why should I stay on if that makes sense? I think Virgil van Dijk will be the key as well, because if he signs on, United for me is definitely going to want to stay at the club. But it's Real Madrid. It's a team that will lure most players, so we have to be sort of careful with what happens here. I really hope that Liverpool are able to provide the contract that he wants and he's just willing to sign. He doesn't seem like he's money oriented or anything to that nature. I think it's more about the club's ambition. Where does he see them going forward? And if you've kept all your players here and you've won league titles, hopefully we're going to win that league title very soon. Uh, it puts us in a good position for him to stay at the club. if we're not challenging for titles, then for him it might be where he doesn't see this being a long-term uh, place for himself in terms of his future and his career. So I don't think there's any sort of truth to rumors, but we can't be naive to say, oh, he'll reject him or he's not going to go there. Fortunately, it's still a possibility. It's a slim chance at this stage because we're hoping he'll stay based on what we're achieving this season and what he's pretty much found himself a home. He does seem to come across as that person where if he's happy with where he is, then I think he doesn't need to move on. So let's see. But I thought I'd raise it because it's been something that's been rumbling today. But I don't think there's any truth to it. But you know, we've got to discuss these things because it can't be completely dismissed. Real Madrid do need to sign a centre back. Obviously, they've had issues this season, so a player like Konate, Saliba would be another one that they'd consider. So two of the sort of upcoming young defenders in world football that are literally on that verge of hitting new heights, and if they hit that new level, they'll be regarded as world class, in my opinion. So those are the two that they'll be looking at. So hopefully they go for Saliba rather than Konate, but only time will tell. Another one that's been circulating for a number of weeks, but more so in the last few days, is Kerkez. The Bournemouth left back has been linked with a £40 million move to Liverpool. I think in terms of the transfer fee, it makes sense. I don't think that's a huge fee. I think it's realistic. Obviously, Richard Hughes, our sporting director, was the man that brought Kerkez to Bournemouth to the Premier League. So, it should be a deal that should be easy for him to conclude. But you already know my sort of reservations on Richard Hughes' capabilities as a sporting director. I'm still to be moved in terms of what he brings to the table. I haven't been impressed in terms of how he's operated, but this summer will be an indication of, is he the real deal? Is he the guy to take us forward as a club? Well, only time will tell. But in terms of Kirkis as a player, I do like him. I do rate him. My personal preference, you probably heard me say a few times this season, is Hato from Ajax. He's a player that I really like the look of. I feel like he's got a high ceiling, but Kerkez would probably be my second choice if I'm being honest. Kerkez has really impressed me this season. Whenever I watched him play, I thought, he's very attack minded, but how is he defensively? And I think he's defensively sound as well. So he's definitely got a good balance of defense and attack in his game. And I feel like, you know, adding him to a squad could definitely help us on that left hand side. Of course, having Sobozla, his Hungarian captain for the national team, will definitely play a role. Of course, he played for AZ Alkmaar, so can speak Dutch. So we've got a few Dutch players. Our coach is Dutch as well. I'm sure the coach is aware of Kerkez's ability from their time at the Eredivisie. So he pretty much ticks a lot of boxes. So he's the one that seems most likely to sign. But if it was Manchester, I'd go for Hato. But if Kerkez was to sign, I'd be pleased with it. I think he would be a good addition to our team. Big, big debate, and I'm probably going to discuss this a lot more as the season closes. With one player coming in, someone has to depart, and the big question is who departs? Is it Robertson or Simicast? And I've been flip flopping my answer all season. Um, a part of me says Robertson will stay because of his experience and what he brings to the table. But at the same time, I've seen a lot of weaknesses in the game that I'm thinking maybe, he's dropping a level down and we can't really just carry players in the squad because of what they've brought to us in the past. We've got to think forward as a club. So having a player like a Kerkez and a Simicast would add the right balance on that left hand side, or Hato and Simicast. Hato being a player that is predominantly a left back now, but has played centre back in his career, so has a capability of playing two different roles. Um, so for me, I'd want to keep Simicast, but I don't know with Robertson. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I just don't feel like he's had that same impact this season, and I do feel like age has caught up with him, and like it does for everyone. because he's been playing at a very high level and he's been playing very consistently as well. So this is one that will definitely be one for us to look out for because I think left back needs to be addressed as a position, as well as striker role, which I mentioned earlier on with Isak. So big summer ahead for Liverpool for sure. And the final rumor that we have, and bit of a wild one, but we'll still talk about it, and that is Al Hilal apparently are ready to make a bid of £100 million for Szoboszlai. Now, this will be a big debate amongst Liverpool fans because I think if this rumor was presented a few months ago, a lot of us would probably have said yes. Not me personally, because a couple of years ago, maybe it was a year ago, I regarded him a couple of years ago because he signed. Um, I did a show, and then a few months later, he signed for a club. So I regarded him as a dream signing for the team. So I'm not going to dismiss the guy because he's not lived up to everyone else's expectations. I know what he brings to the table, and I've been very impressed with the way he's grown into this role that he's playing right now. I feel like he's definitely found that balance. So for me, I wouldn't accept that deal, and that sounds crazy because it's £100 million. But sometimes it's not all about the money. It's about if you've got a player that really suits the way you play, are you able to replace him very easily? I don't think you are. There's not many players in world football that match Szoboszlai's energy and drive and pressing ability. You can get number 10s that might have better end product when it comes to through balls and possibly in finishing. I think Szoboszlai is a great finisher, but hasn't done it enough this season. But that's something for him to work on for next season and for the future as well. So for me, I wouldn't want to sell Szoboszlai. I feel like we've got such a great winning formula within the squad right now. There's no need to just chop and change for the sake of money or for anything on that basis. But that's my thoughts. I know a lot of fans might differ with that opinion there. But yeah, feel free to drop a comment, let me know. But in terms of that rumor, I think they're probably seeing if they can acquire a player like Szoboszlai. But it will probably get dismissed very soon, like it did with the Nunes deal. But that Nunes deal could resurface in the summer because it looks like his days are numbered. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with regards to transfers. And that's also the end of the show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you to Daz for your comments. Now, if you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Um, in terms of upcoming shows, I will be doing a live watch along of this fixture tomorrow. It takes place at 8 p.m. UK time, I believe. So I'll be live from 10 to 8, and we can discuss the lineups together and see if there's any surprises with the team selections. And we can of course watch the game together. And yeah, feel free to get involved in the live chat. And after the game, we'll do a match reaction show, which is also a calling show for the viewers. So if you'd like to come on and have your say, a link will be pinned in the live chat. So feel free to hit that link and come on the show. And then we'll have a match preview of Liverpool versus Southampton on Thursday evening around 11 p.m. UK time. And we'll also do a live watch along of that fixture on Saturday and a match reaction show. So that's all the shows this week. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you know what time we're going live. Um, and that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to speak with you all very soon. Goodbye.